So what is McMorrow doing? What is Mallory McMorrow doing to make up for this, right? What is she doing to make up for this disparity? Well, it turns out she's hitting the same lines that she did already. There's pressure now coming in the direction of Mallory McMorrow to drop out. I don't think she should. She's my queen, and as my queen, we need to hear from swagged out and maybe a little quirked up, kind of pro-Israel, kind of ambiguously not pro-Israel voices that could potentially eat away from the Haley Stevens base. Yeah, I know we got Haley Stevens. We got the Haley Stevens the situation too. It's really funny. We're going to get to all of that. But first, let's start with hearing from female voices in Congress, okay? Voices that are running for office here. Let's take a look.
He's been endorsed by Hasan Piker, who has millions of followers on social media, mainly people under the age of 30. I mention this because he is a very controversial figure. And in March, you compared him to white supremacist Nick Fuentes. Now, Piker spoke to Detroit Public Radio about that yesterday.
So people can come to me directly and figure out what I'm actually about. So that was one of the reasons why that smear campaign failed spectacularly. People started looking at Abdul's campaign. People started hearing what he was saying, and they liked it. And lo and behold, he was in third place before this smear campaign started, and now he's comfortably in first place.
My opponent made a decision to bring in Hasan shortly after there was an attack on a synagogue here in Michigan where a man drove.
This is one of the most, look, I'm going to repeat this one more time. Tying me to an anti-Semitic hate crime is one of the more insane things I've heard from who is otherwise supposed to be like a progressive Democrat. Okay? Notice how she's trying to get the attention of her producer.
Pickup truck into a synagogue where 140 preschoolers were at school that day. And had it not been for the security measures, the bollards in place, it could have been the largest.
Wait, why does she wave to her producer? She's like, get me off this. Get me off camera. This is crazy. She's like, I don't want to be a part of this. She's talking like a Klansman. She's like, this could be a lawsuit style situation. Can you please get me off camera?
At school that day. And had it not been for the security measures, the bollards in place, it could have been the largest mass killing of kids in this country's history. And to bring somebody in to represent your campaign, in my mind, is a very different decision than going on somebody's stream and talking to their audience.
Why? What do I have to do with McMorrow? Also later said you're not anti-Semitic after saying you were the Nick Fuentes of the left. No real convictions, total fraud. Yeah, that's what's so funny. Here's what's so funny about these people that are trying to find like a moderate lane, a moderate progressive lane, right? They can't even get on board with like a smear campaign. They can't even do that appropriately. Like, pick a side. If you're going to go unhinged with it, you on the one hand can't imply that I am responsible for an anti-Semitic hate crime at a synagogue. And then also on the other hand, turn around and be like, but he's not racist. Like, if you're going to lie in one direction. They're so wishy-washy. They can't even do the lie appropriately. It blows my mind. I will say, though, I expect stuff like this from Haley Stevens. Maybe I'm too naive, but I did not expect this level of racial agitation from Mallory McMorrow, once again, who is like trying to occupy the relatively somewhat more progressive, but not super progressive lane. And I don't even think she knows what she's doing. I think she doesn't realize how racist this comes across as, because Islamophobia is so super normalized. Producer legit said cut her off, then she points going, no, I'll let her finish her point. Source, background and live TV.
I believe in freedom of speech. People should be able to say and do whatever they want. But we have a very diverse population here in Michigan. We have the largest Arab American population in the country alongside a very significant Jewish population. And we need to keep everybody together, not just to win, but to govern and to represent this state appropriately.
Hearing reporting about you having very soft numbers with Black voters, hearing.
Yeah, I wonder why. I mean, this kind of plays into that, no? Obviously, there's like Abdul's doing fairly well with Black voters in Michigan. Understandable. But then also Haley Stevens benefits from the machine, the turnout machine that the Democrats are kind of turning on in her favor. But even then, Abdul's doing, I think, better than Haley Stevens is, right? The reason why Mallory McMorrow has found herself in the Pete Buttigieg slot is because she does stuff like this. There is a lot. The way people talk about Black people in mainstream media as like a reliable voting bloc, and what Black people actually believe are two entirely different universes. Okay, at least in my experience, I know it's somewhat anecdotal, but also Black people are polled on this stuff all the goddamn time. When you go down to like issue specific percentages, like Black people are always more woke than the rest of the country on every issue. So I don't even understand why there is this weird attitude in mainstream media to present Black people as this like monolithic voting bloc that's like incredibly conservative. There has never been a single instance where Black people were not overwhelmingly way more woke, which they invented, by the way. Okay. But overwhelmingly more progressive than the mean, than the average. It's so strange. Like Black people on the issue of immigration, there is this like concerted effort to make it seem like Black people in the United States of America don't fuck with the migrants or whatever. And there's always this like destabilization. They're trying to foment some kind of like racial animus where no such racialized animus exists, right? And there's good reason for it, obviously, because, you know, white supremacy is a fairly powerful force, if not the most powerful force in American politics, even to this day. And guess who understands that force better than anybody else? Black people do, right? Anti-Black racism is one of the most potent forces in American politics. So, of course, they're not going to fall for all this like stupid shit about how, you know, there are all this stupid shit about how, like, you know, immigrants are coming to take Black people's jobs or whatever. Also, there's a real crisis with Black immigrants too. We're going to talk about that later. The Supreme Court of the United States of America just revoked temporary protected status visas of 350,000 Haitians, advancing the whole Haitians eat cats and dogs nonsense, like that racist bullshit that the Trump administration, or the Trump campaign rather, was advancing in the electoral run. So, you know who understands that kind of racism? Black people do. J.D. Vance openly said he lied about that. So yeah, from where I'm standing, like this idea that, I mean, going back to like why she's performing poorly with Black voters in Michigan is because I think the inauthenticity is palpable. People can smell it. So she's found herself in the Pete Buttigieg zone.
You have very low numbers overall, and the chatter is growing louder that you should drop out, that you are a spoiler candidate. Will you drop out?
Here's what I can tell you. We are being presented right now with what I believe is a false binary choice, that either we have to accept the status quo in Haley Stevens, a member of Congress who's taken tens of thousands of dollars in corporate PAC donations, who hasn't done any public events.
Hype Train level 2, by the way, and it's 35% off. 5+ gifted subs. We're at 48 seconds remaining. We can carry the flame twice in a row and so close to one another. Subscribe to the People's Broadcasting Service, public broadcasting service. Only sponsored by you, the people, for you, the people. Support independent media by subscribing for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime, and I will carry the flame again. You missed the level 6 hype train while you were blasting off? Oh. We're cooking. How about some tacos? Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. And Turbulent Pancakes, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Jay Lee, thank you for the 5. Jean, thank you for the 10.
With people, she's not taking tough questions.
But she has been on debates and on the debate stage. So people have been able to look at the three of you side by side. And right now, you're the one coming up short.
Certainly, I hear you. And on the other side, we've got a candidate who has never won a campaign before. In the last quarter, I outraised the Congresswoman by $1 million with no corporate PAC donations. I've got more grassroots support than my opponents combined. We are out there every single day with our message that we don't have to accept an either or.
By the way, going back to the Pete Buttigieg method, level 5 hype train, by the way, it is Liz Smith. Liz Smith is one of her advisors, and Liz Smith famously was Pete Buttigieg's advisor as well. So that's also interesting.
I am the only candidate in the race who's won tough elections. I helped flip the entire state Senate to Democrats for the first time in 40 years. And as majority whip, I've delivered on healthcare, housing, civil rights, voting rights, you name it. We've done it.
So, yeah, I mean, this is like a insanely racist attack for the record. Like it's just terror jacketing. It's fairly Islamophobic to be like, well, Abdul, Muslim guy. Also Hasan, another Muslim guy. Scary. Scary. Don't you feel like they might have been responsible for this synagogue attack? If you squint at it from far enough, doesn't it feel like they were responsible for this? So I said, yeah. So if you're horrified by the U.S. munitions being used to murder children in Gaza, Mallory McMorrow thinks you're responsible for attacks against synagogues. How is this any different than what MAGA says about us? And it's ironic because the question presented to her quite literally was, don't you feel like your attacks against Hasan Piker and Abdul El-Sayed backfired on you? And it caused your campaign's approval to straightforwardly collapse. I've never seen such a clear-cut example of a campaign. I never thought that I would see such a clear-cut example of a campaign collapsing after trying this panicked attack. And what's so crazy is, like, she's doing a double down here. But she's also, again, wishy-washy on it too. Mallory McMorrow says the song gets dangerously close to anti-Semitism, claiming he's uninformed, and a lot of what he says is really hurtful to her family. No actual quotes or evidence from Hasan was provided with this claim. You know, this is for the Jewish Insider. I don't think that he is. Asked whether she believes Hasan Piker to be anti-Semitic, Mallory McMorrow said no, but added that it almost doesn't matter. Yeah, you can't. Here's the problem. And this is something that I was addressing in that Detroit Public Radio broadcast. If I was a college campus activist and I did not have my platform, if I did not have this platform that is large enough, that is competitive with other media platforms, with mainstream media outlets, she would be able to get away with smearing me like this. If I was a college campus activist, as many college campus activists were smeared in mainstream media, they could just go, yeah, this guy is crazy. Look at what he said. Look at his choice quotes. But because I'm in the media myself, I am a media figure myself, you can arrive at your own conclusions by looking at my background, looking at my history, looking at what I've said on this issue. And it's a really tough hill to climb if your job is to be like, well, this guy's a dangerous anti-Semite. And then people can actually see what I've done in this space. They can see the hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours I have poured into specifically combating anti-Semitism. It looks ridiculous, you know? And it's extra ridiculous because this is an issue that you are unnecessarily drawing attention to that is 90-10. When your opposition is saying, you know, Israel's doing war crimes, Israel's doing a genocide, we got to stop, you know, we got to hold Israel accountable, we got to stop funding Israel's war crimes. And we should fund, you know, Medicare for all instead. You are unnecessarily drawing attention to your lackluster approach to this issue that is a phenomenal litmus test for a lot of people. Yeah. She said I was similar to Nick Fuentes and then turned around and said, actually, he's not anti-Semitic. Like, and I get close. It's like Nick Fuentes is a Holocaust denier who openly loves Adolf Hitler. Nick Fuentes is a Holocaust denier or even a Holocaust enjoyer. Okay? You can't on the one hand say like, oh, this person is dangerously close to Nick Fuentes, and then turn around and be like, but he's not anti-Semitic. Like, what are you talking about? What am I close to Nick Fuentes on? Like nothing. Nothing at all. If anything, you're closer to Nick Fuentes if you actually equate Israel with the entire international Jewry. He does it all the time. You're closer to him than I am, fundamentally. Anyway, hype train is at what level? Did we reach another level or did it end? I wasn't paying attention. Sorry, I gave up on it a little bit, and I think you guys gave up on it too. Never mind, it's level 6 complete on the hype train. Level 7 hype train is here. At level 10, you already know we're going to be carrying the flame. What is this? You want me to play the flamenco version? Sure. I'll play a new version. I'll play the newer version. Yeah, so it's not looking too great for Haley Stevens. And I think it's repugnant that she's doing this. But as you guys know, if there's one thing that I have a lot of experience in, right? It's eating. It's falling victim to ridiculous smear campaigns. So, I'm used to it. It is what it is. I can deal with it. I do not wish it on anyone else, though. And I certainly don't wish it on a lot of these wonderful people who have decided to run for office. And what is this?
What's interesting?
Yeah. Saying you support Palestinian freedom isn't just a litmus test of morality. It's a test of how easy it is for lobbyists like AIPAC to sway your opinion. Yes. Yeah. I got the tank build. I have had to withstand, presidential campaign level opposition research for the last decade. So I'm used to it. And I think more socialists and more bold or radical candidates have to get used to it as well, because unfortunately, this is the treacherous nature of this territory. Okay? That's what it is. If you are outside of the confines of the American media class's permissible opinions, if you are advocating or advancing society in a direction that capital owners don't want, they're going to come after you. And if they can't find anything in your background, they're going to invent stuff, right? We saw this with Daria Lisa. They didn't have anything that they can hit her on. So they just started creating controversy off of her tweets. This is how these guys operate. So you have to get ready, and you just have to realize that as long as you got your people, as long as your people have your back, you're good. And you just keep growing that base. You keep growing that base of support. You keep growing that momentum, and you carry the flame every day. Level 7 hype train, by the way, almost done. Yeah, you call people who were stealing food from children, women, and men during a genocide inbred. How was the controversial beyond me? Yeah, I know. It's that one is the dumbest one, but it doesn't matter.